Okay, welcome everybody. Happy Friday. It's October 15th, 2021, 11:30 a.m. We are very happy. We are very excited to bring you this special webinar regarding economics and business economics. And we have a nice guest panel here, and we will present them. To you in a short while, in about 15 minutes or so. Okay, hello again. My name is Danilo Bonilla. I'm one of the advisors here at the International Education Office. As you see on my screen, those are the countries that I deal with. We have other advisors, 4 more advisors that handle different areas. So if you go to the International Education website, just go ahead and reach out to them. There's one in charge of Asia, somebody is in charge of Europe, Latin America, so on and so forth. So again, welcome. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to my next slide. Okay, so again, a warm welcome from the International Education Office. Okay, so really quickly, who we are. So the International Education Office is the one-stop shop for all study abroad opportunities, whether you're interested in interning, doing a language and culture program, or going and taking econ courses at Bocconi University in Italy or London School of Economics, whatever opportunities we have for study abroad internship, we will help you with that. Like I mentioned earlier, we have many advisors and coordinators. We also connect you with returning students, and today, in certain cases, with alumni. We have 2 great alumni that will speak in about 15 minutes. And again, we are very happy because this whole week is Global Learning Opportunities Week. This is recorded, and you can always go back to our sessions if you go to the website listed there. Okay, so this is the agenda. It's basically a very short agenda. We're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome. There's a COVID information, study abroad 101 refreshers, how to study as a economics major, business economics major, sample programs, and then the question and answers with our returning students / alumni. Okay, study abroad and COVID. So finally, after 18 months, this coming fall 2021, we are sending students abroad, and we are planning to send more students abroad in the following terms. This coming summer, fall, winter, and spring. So we are very happy once again that study abroad will be in person. The other thing that I do want to mention is on our website, there is a 15-minute presentation with a little bit more details on how the UCLA International Education Office is handling health and safety issues regarding COVID. We're taking all the precautions necessary. We do have students right now in Europe, in different parts of the world. And so everybody's safe and healthy. Let's see. So one thing that I do want to emphasize is please apply for your passport now. Make sure that you check your the expiration date, because for many programs, we do need a photocopy of your passport right away. So go ahead and get started. There are some delays with getting passports, whether a US citizen or a foreign national. Some of the consulates and passport agencies have been experiencing delays because of COVID. So today, this weekend, is the time to check and make sure that you get your passport ready for your application. Okay, study abroad refreshers. So this past Monday, we had a great webinar. It was called Study Abroad 101. Hopefully you got to see it. And if you did not, take a look at our website and you'll find it there. But basically what we did is we went over program types, credit transfer, cost and funding of programs, the application processing, timelines, all those nitty-gritty details. What we will be covering in this specific webinar is economics, business economics, strong offerings in certain universities, certain countries, and then the great question and answer panel with our returning students / alumni. Okay, really quickly, as you know, we have many types of programs. One of the first program that I want to mention is the University Immersion Program, where you can study with local students, local professors at one of our 150 partner universities around the world. So that's a great type of program. The other one is the UCLA faculty-led programs, which is basically on the go during the summer, led by UCLA professors. The other one is a special research or internship program where you're actually getting credit for your internship. Again, that's just a few of the programs. We have many more. So again, that's just a quick refresher that was on our 101 Study Abroad webinar. Okay, on the UCLA International Education website, we have a great tool. It's how to choose your program. This will help you kind of think about your goals about studying abroad. Is it personal academic goals? Is it foreign language? Is it that you need your, core classes for your econ major? So this will help you kind of narrow down your choices. As you know, we have hundreds and hundreds of options, 40 plus countries. So hopefully this little tool on our website will help you narrow this down. Okay, you can use your financial aid as long as you apply for FAFSA. I believe the daily or the yearly deadline is March 2nd. So make sure that you apply for FAFSA, and financial aid will be transferable if you are doing a UC program. The other thing is apply for scholarships. On our website, you'll find a lot of resources and information about applying to scholarships. And one single scholarship is not going to cover the full cost of the program, but it will chip away at costs. So definitely apply for as many scholarships as possible. Start applying now. Most programs are open. Most programs are not competitive. So basically start now. It's usually 9 months ahead of the departure date. There are a few programs that have limited space, so just kind of keep an eye on that on our website. Okay, so studying abroad as an econ major or business econ major. So again, you're not obligated to study in your major. You can do a little bit of everything else: personal goals, professional development, foreign language, GEs. But if you do want to study abroad in your major, we do have some guidelines. Let's see, the first thing that I would like to point out is that the economic department has these guidelines on their website, and then the process for petitioning. So definitely read through the website. And also, if you have any questions, reach out through them through the UCLA, My UCLA message portal. Okay, so EAP courses can be applied towards some of these areas. So they can be applied for Econ 1, 2, 11, 102, 106 without labs. I mean, they can also be for electives in management. Let's see, management 1A, 1B. The other thing is make sure that if you are minoring or minoring in accounting or entrepreneurship, please note that those classes must be taken here at UCLA and not really be transferred in from abroad. The other thing that I do want to mention really quickly, again, this information is on the economics department website. You can only transfer in a maximum of 3 courses to your econ major here at UCLA. Let's see, the elective courses, if you are taking elective courses, just make sure that they have prerequisites of intermediate economics and intermediate economics. So again, that's the next bullet point. Again, the exception would be, for example, if you are taking a regional economics course, just make sure that that regional economics course is upper division and it's at least 4 units, and that it has a lower division prerequisite. Again, you can review this on the website, but I just kind of quickly wanted to go through some of the main points. We have a couple more slides about this. So pre-approval and petitioning, definitely get pre-approvals and petitioning. One note that I do want to say is on the first bullet point. So there is a two-year approval window, and because of COVID, we haven't sent students in a while, so that 2-year approval window is kind of void. So that brings me to the second bullet point. Basically, what you would need to do when you go abroad is to get a syllabi from the instructor with the actual term and the actual instructor's name and information, and petition that through the econ department. Let's see. And then again, the next bullet point is just to make sure that the classes that you are taking are 4 units and that it transfers in as upper division credit. Again, you would have to submit a syllabi through the UCLA message center. Okay, and then courses that basically do not apply for econ, do not transfer for econ or business economics are, as you may already know, Econ 103, 103L, 104L, 106 with labs. Also, unfortunately, Econ 199A does not transfer in. The same thing with management electives, especially if they're entrepreneurship or business, they don't give you credit for that unless they're listed on the pre-approved management elective list. And then the last one, it would be the English composition 131B. So terms abroad, you can basically study abroad any term, summer, fall, winter, spring. Do highly recommend it. Try to take Econ 1, 101, and possibly 102 before going, because that will give you some background in and will be sometimes will be the prerequisites for some of our courses abroad. The only thing that you have to keep in mind is I know that some students are thinking about internships and full recruitment, so just kind of figure that out. But in theory, you can really go any term, summer, fall, winter, or spring. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go through some sample programs. So the sample programs that I first want to emphasize is UC-EAP. You can apply now. The applications are open now and the due dates are coming up, so please take a look at that. So one great program, and we have a returnee student alumni, we'll talk about that. He went to the London School of Economics, and here what you see in the center of the screen is a listing of courses that have been pre-approved by UCLA Economics Department. They're upper division, they're 4 units each. So this is out of our one of our search engines. So you can find this directly on our website. So here's a quick sample right in the middle. Over at the left-hand side, some accommodations. It's basically dorms, and you have several options with that. And the London School of Economics is basically a summer program. You can also potentially go for the year, but our most popular option would be summer in London, London School of Economics. Okay, moving on to the other one is the Netherlands, a great city, Maastricht University. They also emphasize in business economics. And then at the center of the presentation, at the center of the slide, you'll see some of the upper division courses that are 4 or 5 units each that have been pre-approved in the past for econ. Again, this one, you also live in dorms, as you can see on the little corner here. And you can go for fall semester, spring semester, or the year. This one has plenty of space in a great city, walkable city. You can ride your bike or walk to school. Very, very beautiful area in the Netherlands. Okay, the other one is in Milano, Italy, Bocconi University of Commerce. Again, in the middle, you'll see some of the courses that have transferred in, upper division, 4 units each. This one, you have an opportunity to live in apartments or dorms. And as you can see, you can live with Italians if you like. So that's a nice draw to this program. And again, this one, you can go fall semester, spring semester. And we have Nicole on the line here, which later she will talk a little bit about her experience in Milano, Italy. Okay, the other thing is we have programs in Japan. There are a few universities that I would like to highlight. International Christian University, that usually has 4-unit courses or 4-unit plus courses. The other ones like KO, some of the challenges about that, I think they have maybe 3-unit courses and few 4-unit courses. But anyways, we have Robert on the line, and if you have any questions about Japan, make sure that you contact him. But we do want to emphasize that Japan is a nice option. The most amenable, the most flexible one will probably be International Christian University. And again, there's a sample of courses that you can take there that have been quote unquote pre-approved. Okay, so this is just a quick sample of many, many programs. We also want to highlight University College London. There's the Autonomous University of Barcelona in Spain. There's also Sciences Politiques, Sciences Po in Paris, and then another great university in the Netherlands, Utrecht University. Okay, Global Internship Program. We have a great program. The advisor for this program is Andrew Bottom. You'll get his contact information on our website. And this is a very unique program where you're actually doing an internship for about 8 weeks. And along with that, you are also taking a course. So you're taking something like 4 to 8 units, and you're taking from 1 to 2 courses. And this is a great internship in the Czech Republic, in Prague, a beautiful city. You can be placed in corporations, consulting firms. And Julie, is there like you said there is a special webinar, correct? Do you have like the dates or the information for that?
October 26th from 2:30 to 3:30, and the information will be sent out through the Econ Alert listserv.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Julie. Let's see. So, yeah, and then I'm actually going to skip over global cities because not a lot of these courses will go into econ. But again, maybe if you're doing political science, communications, you might be interested in this program. Take a look at this on our website. The same thing with UCLA Summer Travel Study. We don't really have econ programs. We have a special management program, which may not really transfer in for the econ department. But if you're just having an extra summer and you want to just do management, again, you can take a look at this on our website.
Danilo, just the Management 109 and 127C will satisfy 2 management courses for BizEcon, the management electives, and I believe they will also apply to the minor in accounting.
Oh, I see. Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. I think I'm going to go to the alumni students. Let's see. Can you see me? I think my video froze. Can you all see me? Yes or no?
I can see you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we'll start. Go ahead, Nicole and Arhant. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, your major, what you studied, what you're doing now, full-time work, obviously. We'll start with Nicole, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole. I graduated in 2020. Oddly enough, I just had my graduation ceremony last weekend at UCLA, and I studied econ with a minor in accounting. As mentioned earlier, I studied in Milan at Bocconi University. And then right now I'm working for a biotech company actually in San Diego called Illumina. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of it. And kind of complete switch from econ. I worked at JP Morgan for 1.5 years, but I'm now in like HR and talent acquisition. So a switch, but still, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. Benvenuta, welcome. So Arhant, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, hi guys. Same as Nicole, I graduated in 2020. In the 2018 summer, I studied abroad in London School of Economics. I studied business economics and I did 2 courses there that satisfied my 106 requirements. And yeah, I work at a hedge fund now in Santa Monica.
Okay, great. Thank you again for joining us. So the first question that I have for both of you, and Nicole can start, is basically, what classes did you take for your majors and minors? And how did that transfer into your UCLA curriculum, academic record? Did it delay your graduation? So if you can give us a little bit of those details, Nicole.
Yeah, definitely. So I took 3 classes abroad, and it was behavioral economics, econ history, and then a financial markets and institutions class. All 3 transferred over. I know normally I think they're around 4 units at UCLA. They transferred over for a letter grade. They ended up being 6 units. If anything, I think that actually I graduated about a quarter early. And so if anything, I think it may have helped me because I would have been taking those same 3 classes at UCLA. But if anything, I obviously got an abroad experience out of it, but I also got some extra units. So that was super helpful. But yeah.
Great. Thank you, Nicole. Go ahead, Arhant.
Yeah, so I took a financial markets class and I took a portfolio management class, which transferred over as, I remember specifically, I think it was 106F and 106V, which are one of the other investing classes. And same as Nicole, I think instead of 6 units, so in 6 weeks, I was able to do 2 classes and they transferred over as 11 units, which is 5.5 each. Which was amazing, and it actually helps you in graduating, because if you were taking the 2 classes at UCLA, first of all, it won't be 6 weeks, and it would be only 8 units, and if you get a good grade, like 11 units of that good grade is pretty helpful.
Great, thank you. Let's see. So the next question is regarding finances. How expensive was London? How expensive was Milan? Did you receive any type of state or federal aid? Did you apply to any scholarships? We'll start with Nicole.
Start. Yeah, so I was able to get financial aid. I think you kind of touched on it earlier. It's same process as if you were at UCLA, but just obviously for your abroad program. And then I didn't apply to too many scholarships, but I did actually get one. So that was really helpful. And I know the costs, obviously, when you're traveling and doing extracurricular things, it kind of can add up. So I know that that was super helpful. And just that whole experience in general is a very good learning process for money management and things like that. So I guess an added bonus.
Yeah, I can go now. So I think, so I'm an international student from India. So I guess I was studying abroad at UCLA anyway. So I think for a lot of the scholarships, I'm not sure if all of them or not, but I wasn't eligible. But since you're paying the same fees as you would pay at UCLA, I think it was the same for me. London gets to be, especially if you go to LSE, it's a little bit expensive, but since the course is only 6 weeks, I was definitely able to manage. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit on the expensive side, but I think like most vacations end up being a little bit expensive, I guess.
Great. Thank you. So the next question is basically about your host university. If you can briefly describe it, the look and feel, Bocconi University, London School of Economics, does it look and feel like UCLA? Somewhat compare and contrast. We'll start with Nicole.
I would say Bocconi is a very different feel. The outside of it is super gray, which is obviously not what you see at UCLA. But the inside is very new. And I guess if you've taken accounting classes at Anderson School of Management, the inside of it kind of feels a little bit more like that. But it's so different because at UCLA, you have this huge campus and you're in a college town in Westwood. And when you're in Milan, it's completely different. There are, local shops and everything right nearby. And I stayed in a dorm, which we might get to that a little bit later, but it was 5 minutes off campus. And if you went one way, it was to the school, another way, it's to like these local shops, restaurants, things like that. So very different feel and experience than UCLA for sure.
I think similar. I don't know if that building behind you is Bocconi University, but that definitely looks better than LSE. LSE was pretty, I guess like if it gave me the feel of NYU. It's like basically like NYU in London, where they have a bunch of buildings. They're not really creative with their names. I think the names of the buildings were New Academic Building and old Academic Building. So it was kind of in the middle of the city. But the good part is, I guess it's very different from UCLA. There's no campus. The dorms are not together. They're very far apart. So if you're in one dorm, your friends are going to be the people that are in the same dorm. Because I maybe remember going to one more dorm, but usually you just stay in your dorm and find your friends there. And yeah, it was a very like city-like feel where like you have LSE just exists within the city instead of LSE having its own separate territory or geographical identity, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And also, maybe if you can touch a little bit more about housing. I think Nicole was going to say something more about housing, and Arhant, go ahead. Both of you.
Yeah, I can go first. So housing at LSE is kind of interesting. So you get a single. I think you can I know people who got a double, which is interesting because I didn't even know that option existed before I went. But you get a single, and it's a cramped room where there's no AC. So when I went, London was in a heat wave, which was great. So I kind of had to like beg the front desk for a fan, and they were nice enough to give it to me. And I didn't have to buy one on my own or whatever. But I think it was a heat wave. It's a cramped room, and it's like a flat with 4 rooms, and you have a sink in your room, but you all share the kitchen as well as the bathroom. But you get your own sink, I guess. So that's the culture there. In terms of, it's a very different feeling because you only go the elevator, or they call it lift in England. The lift only opens into your flat, so you really don't go into any other flats. And there's no common area in the flat except the kitchen, so it's not very conducive to meeting people. But on the flip side, they have like a common basement area, which is pretty big. It has like a pool table. I remember a ping pong table. That is where like everybody in the building from all the flats in the building come congregate. You can do whatever there. There's no limitations as they are in like dorm lounges in UCLA. Like you can, I guess you can drink there. They don't. There's no rules regarding that.
Okay, go ahead, Nicole.
So similar to LSC, the dorm or housing options at Bocconi are pretty spread out. I know that they give you a list of options for dorms. They kind of explain how far they are from campus, what the room setup looks like. So for my process, I kind of just took a look at that, kind of said, do I want to be close? Do I want to be in a dorm that's maybe a little more social or easier to meet people? And ultimately, I decided I want to be in a dorm that was a little bit closer to campus. And so they have this enrollment. It's like a first come, first serve basis. And because of the time change, I think I had to get up. I set an alarm for like 3 a.m, logged on, signed up for the dorm I wanted right away. I think you can preference a few. And I ended up getting my first choice, which was great. I had my own room, and then I had a shared bathroom. The dorm, not on the outside, but at least the inside was relatively new. I had a desk, I had a bed, I had a closet, and then again, that shared bathroom. And then within the dorm, there were other rooms, and there was also common space for cooking. And so a lot of people would go in there, make food, make dinner. And so that was kind of the way that you could meet people. I know that as far as having guests over, the security there was really strict, which was good, obviously, because it was safe. But if I had, I had people studying abroad in Florence that I knew, and if they ever came to visit, it was a little difficult for me to, have them stay with me. And so that was a little bit tough, but overall, I had a very good experience with it. I really enjoyed it. And it just kind of makes it a little bit easier not having to find housing when in a new place that you're not really familiar with. So I would definitely recommend going with the school housing if you can. And like I said, it was a 5-minute walk at most to the campus or the buildings where classes were.
Just to add on to that, I remember it's the same in London where it's very hard to get guests, which after a certain time maybe, or something like that, but obviously there's ways around it. You like try to fool the security guard or whatnot, but and everybody's trying to do that, but they're definitely very strict with guests. It's not as open as UCLA is. And something else that I wanted to add is, if any of you are trying to go to London in the summer, close your eyes and pick High Holborn, which is what I got after some research. It's the closest dorm to campus, and it is also the most social one. So it's kind of like the best choice. I think it might be, I'm not sure if it's more expensive than others or not, but it's definitely like by far the best choice, especially because the classes in London are from 9 to 4:30. And then usually if you have some plans with your friends later to grab dinner or to go to a pub and whatnot, you don't want to go from class all the way to your far dorm and come back. But if you have like a closer dorm, you can definitely do that. So I would definitely highly recommend picking High Holborn because it makes a big difference to your experience.
Okay, well, thank you both. Let's see, at this point, Julie or Robert, do we have any questions from our panel or from the students that are applying? I can't really see my chat. And then if Julie or Robert have any comments, any final wording?
Hi, Danilo. This is Robert. There is a question in the chat, and the question is, can we take classes outside of the econ major if we do one of these programs, or do all of them have to be economics courses?
So really quickly, when you're abroad, you can really take a little bit of everything. I mean, it depends. If you are on a fast track to graduate, just take econ courses. Also, just make sure that you coordinate it with your advisor for the econ department. But yeah, so roughly that. I'm not sure if Julie would like to add to that.
I just like to, say you want to enjoy your study abroad and you don't want to overload yourself. So if you're taking a lot of econ courses and you're taking a lot of courses in general, then you're going to be studying the whole time and reading, and you're not going to be able to enjoy the experience. And so you want to really balance out making progress towards your major and enjoying yourself. So oftentimes there's courses that UCLA doesn't offer that you might be interested in. I mean, like business courses, some other courses. So, balance them out a little. I would like to ask the two alumni panelists if you could, when I'm advising students, I say, think about why you want to go and what you want to get out of it, because you're going to have a different experience, let's say in London School of Economics for 3 weeks or 6 weeks, as opposed to if you're going during the academic year and you go for a quarter or maybe for 2 quarters. So I don't know, Nicole, how long you went for. You might want to, if you could, both of you could talk about who you took the classes with, what you feel was the advantage and disadvantage of going on your programs, and just maybe give the students more of a sense of what to think about when they're picking classes or picking universities, because oftentimes they'll say, oh, I just want to study abroad. And you're going to have a very different experience if you go to London versus Ghana, for example.
Yeah.
So you really want to think about what you want to get out of it. So if the two of you could kind of talk about that a bit, I'd appreciate it.
For sure. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
for me, or Nicole, you could go first if you like.
Oh, no, don't worry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I think for me, I think there's like 2 things, right? You can either, for me, I think going in the middle of the school year, I didn't want to do that because I thought housing would be a problem when I come back. Like my friends would take roommates that like I won't get, and I just did not want to deal with that situation. The negative of going in the summer for 6 weeks is when I went, was that I wasn't doing an internship, but then like, I guess my decision came to, okay, do you want to go to London and stay 6 weeks there in the middle of college and experience college there? Or do you want to do you think if you don't get this second year, I went in my second year summer. So if you don't get this second year internship, it's going to impact that much on the job, on the job I get in the future. Well, I can't tell you if I what would have happened if I didn't go, but I must tell you that because I went, it was an amazing experience. I especially wanted to log on to this Zoom session because I went in 2018 when the FIFA World Cup was happening. In 2022, the FIFA World Cup's happening again. I am a big soccer nut, and I really loved my experience there. It was absolutely amazing. I think just enjoying soccer in England. I know in Europe in general is great, but I think England gets the most, I guess, enthusiastic about their soccer, and they did well as well, and they're expected to do well in 2022. So if next year, if any of you want to go, that's great as well. So I had a real fun time there. In terms of any other disadvantages, I think just the internship was the main thing that I couldn't do. But then again, if I had to really do it again, I would still pick the same choice of going to London.
Arhan, did you take any courses with students from LSE, or were they all international students? And who were the instructors? Were those LSE instructors or were they visiting instructors?
Got it. Yeah, definitely a great question, Nicole. Or sorry, Julie. I think all the students were mostly American. There was a couple British students, but I think in their curriculum, how it works is they don't really take summer classes there. So it's mostly students, like a lot of kids from Yale, which is kind of interesting, like a lot of UC kids as well. So you made a lot of friends that generally happen to be American. The course is kind of dominated by American students, Indian students, and Australian students. And in terms of the instructors, I think the 2 instructors I had, they were both LSE instructors. I will say this, which is, I guess relevant for everybody. The course, the classes are from 9 to 3 or something like that. And then there's a discussion for 1.5 hours. So it seems like a lot, but classes are not super mandatory. So you could leave them, but the discussions are. And the interesting thing is, even though I took relatively, I guess, upper division courses there, UCEAP, I think, bumps you a grade. And it wasn't as hard to get that A in London as it would have been at UCLA, in my opinion. So just like and that's only my opinion. I think other people might feel differently, but I think within my friend group and for my friends that went from UCLA, it was pretty easy because they give you better. It's just a better curve. Think of it that way, and you also get bumped up by UCAB EAP, I think. So that's, I think, an important point.
Go ahead, Nicole.
Okay, perfect. I apologize. There's like some construction going on at my house. So if you hear that background noise, I apologize. But as far as how I went about choosing where I wanted to go, what my goals were, for me personally, I had never been to Europe. And so the reason I kind of wanted to go there was that is obviously it's much smaller than it is in the US. So if I went to Europe, I knew I would be able to really take advantage of traveling all throughout, the continent. And so I personally was trying to take econ related classes. And this school has a very good reputation in Europe, and that's known here. And I think it's known within Europe. And so I know that 3 classes, I know Julie had said 3 classes, econ, it can be a little bit much, but in my opinion, you're taking them over a semester. So you have to keep that in mind. So while I was doing 3 econ classes, which can be a little challenging, it's spread out over the course of, 12 weeks versus 10 or I don't know, 10. And so it was a little bit more manageable. And I personally had classes only Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And so they met twice a week. And so I had a lot of free time to do, classes on the Monday, Friday, or to travel, whatever I kind of chose. My individual classes had a mix of students from all over. So I had Europe, I had Asia, like all over. There were some American students from other universities. So that was really cool to kind of just take classes and hear, throughout the class from people all over the world. The professors were Bocconi professors, but they came from, again, all over Europe. So I think learning from someone who's from a different country really just adds kind of an extra layer. And I kind of agree that the classes were not necessarily easier, but I think the professors at Bocconi did a very good job of clearly stating their expectation for the class. So a lot of times I went in and I felt very prepared for an exam, knowing exactly, the format of it, what they wanted. And I felt they really prepared me. The lectures were very straightforward. The classes were they were still somewhat large, but they were a lot smaller than UCLA. So you can kind of recognize all the faces. You would, familiar people talking during class, things like that. So it had a much smaller feel to it. And even the way the classes are set up, they're like leveled up. And so it just feels a little bit more inclusive. So I would definitely say my classes, I had a great experience there. If you go there, I think 3 econ classes is manageable over the course of a semester. But I know people who were taking other courses, just, personal preference or got them other requirements. And I guess the only downside I would say is obviously you're missing a quarter of UCLA. But in my opinion, you have 3 other fall quarters at UCLA, and you only have 1 chance to go abroad. So I 100% agree. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I definitely, loved the choice I made. And I guess a little plug here, Milan is very central in Europe. It's a big hub airport. Like they have 3 different airports there. So flights and travel throughout Europe is a lot easier and more affordable, and I guess just quicker from Milan. So there's a little plug for that as well.
Well, thanks again, Nicole and Arhant. We are out of time. I do want to mention one last thing is that the International Education Office is basically available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. We are still working virtual from home, but the best time or the best way to reach us is via email, and we can set up Zoom meetings with you, 30-minute Zoom meetings. We have also drop-in advising. So definitely take a look at our website that's posted here on our screen. And then the last thing is take out your cell phones. And if you would like to receive updates, communication, news, put this QR code on your cell phone. This information is also on our website. We will keep in touch with you. Let's see. So again, I want to thank everybody. I'm going to actually go ahead and stop the recording. Let's see, just a second.